Hey, how's it going today? We got a good one here for you today for our lineup of real estate scams going on. This one I happen to be right in the middle of right now. Um, and it's a doozy. So I decided to do a video on it. I am very positive that even after this video, I'm going to learn more about this scammer before it's done. But I've got enough information already to do a pretty comprehensive video on how these scammers work. This particular scam's been around for probably 10, 15 years since the evolution of social media and email kind of combined. Um, but anyway, it it just works in a fashion where me as a realtor, I'll post something for sale via the internet. Typically, scammers, it's just as easy for them to watch realtor.com and Zillow.com as it is for you, the consumer. Anyway, they take information, take my information, if it's my listing, and then they dupe it and clone it over into a rental and put that out there as for rent, especially if they see in the pictures that the home is empty, right? Like if you're living in it, that's a little bit different. I've seen it even with houses that people are living in them. But homes that are empty, we see probably more of this scam surface, at least in my opinion. Um, so anyway, I'm going to dive into this a little bit to kind of show you how this all is kind of playing and coming together. Um, yeah, I got some interesting information here for you. So, first of all, this was brought to our attention about a week ago. Let me shape this up. I've had the property for sale for about 3 weeks, plus or minus. And about a week ago, we got a phone call from somebody saying, "Hey, is this property for rent?" No, it's not. And so they went on to say, we found it on Facebook Marketplace, and we're just verifying that it's for rent. No, it's not. So we asked them to send some screenshots or some pictures of what they found. Um, and then, of course, since then, about every other day, we have this trickle in of more phone calls or more inquiries about it being for rent. So good job uh, on those that are doing their due diligence and reaching out and calling us and doing some research beyond Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. That's another hotspot. Um, and even just email. And I'm going to show that to you here in a second. Straight up email can be just, or text messaging you can find scammers as well. So anyway, I want to say good job to these 3 or 4 people that already reached out to us and thank them for sending us this information I'm going to present here today because it's kind of interesting. So let's get started. The stuff that I've printed off has basically come off Facebook Marketplace for this particular scammer. I'm going to see if I can put this up there and let it. Yeah, so you can see right here, we got a person named Christina. And we got a 2-bed, 2-bath house for rent at $1,000 a month. Coincidentally, this particular property, that would be a reasonable ask for our marketplace right now. Maybe a little low. You could probably get a couple more $100 out of this property right now, but it's within the range, right? Like it's believable or it's realistic. Like when you see the ad, the initial 3-second knee-jerk reaction is, hey, that's probably market price, if it's in good condition. And so anyway, they know, this scammer knows our local market, right? They're not from China, they're not from south of the equator. They know our local market enough, or at least researched it. I'm not saying they're from here, but they've researched it enough to know this is probably reasonable enough to get some inquiries. So anyway, they got it set up on Messenger here, which you can do on, for those of you not familiar with Facebook Market page, you can set it up to where you message back and forth similar to text messaging on your phone. It's just through the Facebook application. Anyway, it says, so it goes on to say here, yes, it's still available. Are you interested? And then here's a nice little one-liner. I'll let you read that, and then I'm going to read it to you. It says, good morning. Nice pleasantry. I'm just responsible for listing the ad. Huh, smart. Not taking responsibility for this ad. Hey, my friend's got this for rent. I'm just helping them out. Contact John or Jacqueline at gmail.com. First clue. This scammer was smart enough to probably look up on maybe our county website, the assessor website, or some sort of mapping service to see who owns that property. Coincidentally, the person that owns this property is Jackie Johnner. But of course here, our first clue is that they've listed the name backwards because they didn't know, or they're not smart enough to know, the scammer's not smart enough to realize that the last name comes first name comes second on all these on proper websites, right? So there was our first clue. And then second, they leave an email with said person's name as an email address. So gaining your trust, right? Like, hey, I'm a tenant or I'm a consumer. I can look this up just as easy as anybody. Oh yeah, I see that Jacqueline Johnner is the owner. So it's reasonably enough to assume that maybe this is her email address. Anybody can make up an email address. It takes 5 minutes. Boom, name, password, easy. Out the door, done. There's no verifications. So anyway, I give the scammer some credit here. They went as far as setting up an email address. Now, I have emailed this email address 3 days ago. I've yet to hear anything. And I used one of my email. I didn't use my professional email address. I used an email address that maybe they wouldn't recognize. Maybe they caught on that it's me. I don't know. But I sure haven't heard back from them. But it's interesting that they were smart enough to at least create an email address or have the facade of an email address with current property owner's name in it. The other thing that I have on this page yesterday that was brought to my attention by somebody else doing their due diligence was they've been messaging on this app, and the person on the other end, I don't know if it, we know here on this one, the name is Christina, but we don't know if it's Christina. We don't even know if it's a guy or a girl, or they may identify as an oak tree for all we know, the way the 21st century is. But anyway, they're telling people on Messenger that they are deaf. They can't take a phone call because this person asked for a phone number. Hey, can I just call you? Can we meet up over there? Asking the questions a good potential tenant's going to ask, right? Like, hey, when can I go see the property? When can we meet over there? I'd like to see inside the house. And of course, I'm deaf, so I can't take a phone call. Now, I'm not saying there aren't deaf people that own rental properties. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this scammer, super smart. So be aware of that. Second, these images were also sent to us. So first, we're going to go with this one. Here again, 2-bed, 2-bath home or house for rent, $1,000 a month. It's got a picture of the front door, and you can see, I don't know if if I get that just right for you. Anyway, the number on the house is 2,900. I want you to keep that in mind. And of course, we got little clues here like this hose rack and the 2,900 in the door and this tree. I want you to keep that in the back of your mind for a second. Following that image that was sent or screenshot that was sent to us, it gives a description of the home. I'll let you read that a second. And then I want you to keep that in mind as well. So two-level bedroom home, large kitchen, large living room, hardwood floors upstairs, crown molding, banister, and stair tread, and hardwood stair treads. Wood fireplace with a shed with electricity. Notice I have a typo with electricity. Okay, that's my typo. I own that. Nice fence, 3-foot chain link fence, backyard that offers good mix of aspen and juniper trees with one raised flower garden bed. I specifically said one. Property does offer enough off-street parking for 2 vehicles, conveniently located next to some schools. Nice description. That was my description from what I wrote up as a short narrative on our local MLS that went direct. That's a direct feed. Realtor.com, Zillow.com. I don't do it. As soon as I load it in our MLS, right to Realtor and Zillow, it goes within 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Here's an interesting little fact. Seller information. There we go. Sarah Jenkins. Now here's the other fun part that I see about this. We got her kissing Sarah, kissing her boy toy here, husband, boyfriend, for all we know, cousin, I don't know. But the takeaway I took out of this was, look here, 5-star review, 10 reviews, 5-star review. Now I'm a huge proponent for online reviews. I love getting them. I need them for our business. Anybody that's in the service industry needs feedback from their patrons, right? How does a scammer under the name of Sarah Jenkins get 5-star review? Is this a real person? I don't know. We're still sorting that out. But anyway, that kind of caught me off guard. Like, to have a social media site, you have to have a name, you have to have a phone number, which you could use a burner phone. I get it. Doesn't have to be your real cell phone number. You can make up a name, you could steal somebody else's identity. That happens on a daily basis anymore. But the 5-star review, that was catchy. Like, there's more people in this. That tells me or suggests to me that there's more people into this scam than just one person. So how do they do this? I'm going to jump into that. This is going to feel a little bit like a tutorial on how to do this, but it's been, like I said, it's been around for 10, 15 years. Every year they get a little more sneaky, a little more creative, a little more thorough. Some of these scammers are really good, and you need to be vigilant. And the only way to do that is to know how they're doing it, or at least have some sort of a basis, right? So yeah, the intent of this is not to teach you how to be a scammer. Throw that out there. It is to show you how these scammers operate so that you can be kind of more cognitive of your surroundings, especially in the internet world. So let's, I'm going to do a screen share here. First up, I've mentioned Zillow and Realtor several times already. So this is pretty easy. I'm on right here. You can see in the top left-hand corner, I'm on Zillow.com. This is really super simple. Now, I'm just going to stop here. On Zillow and Realtor, I have never posted a rental for rent. I got out of property management. I don't enjoy taking care of other people's properties or catering to tenants and their needs. I got out of that. We got professional property managers that we lean into now. So I don't do this anymore, but so it's been a while since I've been in the inner workings of this, but anybody can do this. Okay. We're on Zillow.com. Rental management tools. This is specific for rentals. We're not selling nothing here. We're just going for rent. My listings. And you can post something for sale here. And it shows, you can see, I don't have nothing for rent. But you can go here and add, you can add a property and go through the proper steps. And a scammer, by going here, can make themselves look pretty darn good. Now, you can see I got a picture of myself, old picture of myself up here in the corner. So I've created a profile. You can all see that. A scammer can create a fake profile, back to the identity theft thing, or use their real picture. The dumb ones use their real pictures and just fake names, right? Next, same with Realtor.com. I'm on Realtor.com. You can see that here in the top left-hand corner, /landlords, manage rentals. And here's basically a full tutorial on how to post a housing rental for rent on Realtor.com. You don't have to be a realtor. You can be you can own your own properties or be a scammer, and you can get started. Again, I've not gone through past this page to actually enter one. So I hope and pray that both Realtor and Zillow's got some checks in here to, or at least some obstacles to help prevent scams. But it's not out of reach for a scammer to use real professional websites to portray themselves as real. I'm not going to do Craigslist today. Some folks still use Craigslist, others don't. Works the same way. You have your online profile, you set it for rent, and you have your profile, you can post stuff for sale, you can post it for rent, grab a couple pictures, and of course, in my scenario that I'm dealing with right now, they stole my pictures and stole my narrative and put it back up as a rental instead of for sale. Facebook. So we can see I'm on my profile. Oh, I'll just get out of that. Sorry. Here we are in Marketplace. So here's Marketplace within Facebook. I can go here and buying, selling. I create a new listing. There we go. I can create a new listing. And as long, this scammer stole my pictures, they saved them on their computer, uploaded them here, copy and pasted my narrative. Easy done. I can have this done in 30 seconds. And the way they go. Now I know, based on the phone conversations we've had with the 3 folks so far, it does seem to be that Marketplace is where this scammer is floating around. But this deal ain't over, so I'm sure that we're going to find it elsewhere in other locations on the internet too. But yeah, and then lastly, I want to show you this, to verify everything that I'm telling you. This is the inside workings of my MLS. So this is my MLS here. You can see my picture in the top left-hand corner there, right below. And looky here, 29. If you look, I don't know if you can see my mouse moving, but we got 2,900 Harder Drive for sale. That's mine. Now look, remember I said keep the narrative in mind? Identical wording. They didn't even try to change the words. They didn't even try to change my typo right there. Remember I said I owned a typo? There it is. They didn't even stop for 2 seconds to read it and fix my mistake. What they did do though is they stopped at the end of school, because the rest of my narrative says to set up personal tour of the property. This is how to contact us. I've left contact information for people to reach back out to us via through our personal website or a cell phone number, which happens to be Kenny's right now. And since I've learned that this scam is happening on this property, I've gone back in and said this property is not for rent in caps. This is specifically because we're dealing with this scam right now, and we don't know who it is, or these things are so hard to track. It's not even funny. But anyway, this is to keep the seller protected, the real owner protected, to keep us protected as professionals, and to protect the consumers. Like, if you're a potential tenant, do your research. I think we're probably going to have to start doing this more and more. Put in a narrative, this is not for rent, to help alleviate that. But I mean, as you can see, their copy and paste ended at junior high school. They left out all of that on their scam narrative. But I think, if you're doing your due diligence and you're checking multiple websites online or making calls, you'll stumble into this information at some point. Like it's eventually going to get to you. So, and then the other thing that I think is interesting, kind of pretty smart here on the scammer, give the scammer some credit. So here's my pictures that I've uploaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pictures in. This is the picture they grabbed for their main picture. We got the hose bib, 2,900, and the tree. Now they cut off part of the tree, but look, see this? Copyright 2023. So they did a snippet on their computer, got rid of the copyright. If you go back, see if I can pull that back up. Oh. I think you can see that. Just barely got the edge of that tree, right? It's because they got rid of this copyright information. That took all of 30 seconds too. So smart on the scammer. I'll give them credit there. But as a members of the public, those looking to rent, to purchase, you need to be aware of how these fraudulent people work. I think that's super important. There's not enough law enforcement in the world to keep up with these people. They're smart, they're aggressive, and they want free money. They don't want to pay taxes on it, and they want it quick. And they've learned how to do it. That's the bottom line. You can't, the best policing you can do is with yourself and trying to keep yourself covered every day. Like I said, it sounds like I'm trying to make a template here for scammers, and I'm not. I'm just literally showing you how easy it is for these people to be 1, 2, 3, they're up and live and for rent in this scenario. And technically they're going to try to push you into sending them some money real quick, not communicating with you on the phone. Maybe some of them are brave enough to, they might have gall enough to get you on the phone. I guarantee you they got a burner phone on the other end if they do that. So obviously when these things surface, when you have the right information, you need to turn it over to law enforcement. I'm just not going to sit here and tell you, though, to have high expectations that it's going to be solved. Like, I know what the legal departments are faced with across the whole world, not just locally. And these fraudsters it's amazing how thick they are. Like, they're I don't know, maybe more prevalent than drug dealers for all I know. I'm not in the criminal world, so I don't know that, but it sure feels that way. So the other thing I'm going to make mention here is when I work with sellers and buyers both, like during one of our initial consultations, I'm going to throw out some comments of, once we get moving and we get serious on some properties, all communications go through me or your trusted professionals. And I'm going to step out a little further and say trusted and licensed professionals. It doesn't have to be just me. It could be the realtor you hire of choice, the lender you hire of choice. If they're not tagged in on electronic communications, you may want to, before you respond or before you open a link, before you do anything with that, you may want to pick up the phone and see if that's a legitimate contact. I see it with, people posing as a title company. Hey, I'm XYZ from ABC Title Company, and your house is just went under contract, and I need to get the information so we can get the ball rolling on our end. Stop. If I'm not copied on that email, just stop. They're gonna put urgency in the email and make it sound like it needs to be done today. There's a reason it takes several days or a month or 2 months to close real estate transactions. Okay. There's nothing so dire that it needs to get done today unless we fell behind on something, on a deadline in a contract. Other than that, take a deep breath, reach out to your lender, reach out to your realtor, reach out to me, whatever. Make sure it's legitimate. I know that scam has existed. I think it's on this series of scams that I've done here on YouTube, where a local transaction that happened, a scammer portrayed themselves as somebody from the title company and said, hey, we're getting prepared to close. We need you to wire $30,000+ to the title company to get you ready for next week. And of course, the buyer did that. Never seen their money again. That happened here locally. Like I verified that story. I know who was involved. Pretty empty feeling when everybody showed up the day of closing, or yeah, they showed up the day of closing, buyers did, and no money. So that would have been pretty sickening. We got the one video on here about $12,000. That one was over 30. Get your attention. The one thing about your licensed professionals, for sale by owner folks, sellers, you're always at risk because you don't have a licensed professional in your corner. Licensed professionals have errors and omissions insurance. There's also there's different tools implemented to help prevent fraud, right? So if you're a for sale by owner, I've always respected for sale by owners. I get it. You're part of the marketplace too. And never has bothered me. What I am saying though is you're at much higher risk of scams and fraud. Same way as do-it-yourself buyers. Uh, maybe you're moving to a new area, you don't have a trusted professional, you don't know who to call, you don't know who to lean into yet. So you're kind of just out there at a whim, trying to do it yourself the best you can. You're going to be at some risk too, and there's ways that these scammers learn about you online, that you're looking at real estate in a new area, especially through social media. Like, I don't know how they all do it. I don't got time to learn all that, but I know that they can learn what your activities are through social media and start to predict what your next moves are going to be. They're that talented. So you're always higher at risk. So again, I put a plug in for all real estate professionals here. This is where we can help, mitigate some things and help keep you protected, the public or the consumer protected, is to, fraudsters and scammers are always going to make sure I got a job. And so thank you for that, scammers and fraudulent people. I'll enjoy sitting in my seat, doing a good job for everybody every day. And I'll keep a lookout for you too on the other side of the line. So yeah, I hope this video helps and kind of brings some light to some things that are going on in the world every day. These things are not going to go away. You can trust me on that. They just keep getting better and more thorough every year, all of which we just got to be aware of. Checking all my notes here, sorry. We're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. There's days we got to be hustling for multiple customers. And what I am asking, or going to challenge myself, if you're a customer, we all just got to be vigilant and watching over our shoulders and making sure we're taking the correct actions and communicating the right way, because any one of us could slip any day and it could lead into a rabbit hole of catastrophe, none of which I want to be a part of, and neither do you, but neither did them other people that it's already happened to. So we just gotta be cautious. So anyway, if you got a similar story you'd like to share, drop it in the comments. Maybe you got some solutions you'd like to share, or maybe some insider info on how these scammers work. We'd sure take that. I think I've covered enough for this video. So anyway, catch you on the next video. And of course, if you would like to buy, sell, trade real estate, or talk real estate, or start planning for your investing portfolio. Oh, investors, I forgot to bring that up. From the public's point of view, or potential tenants' point of view, you are going to run into people that are not professional managers, but they are professional investors, and they manage their own properties. Key takeaway here: most people managing their own properties have them registered in a business name of some kind, right? Like they've done their estate planning, they've done their business planning, they got a business structure. It's going to be XYZ LLC or ABC Inc. So I think that's super. I had to nail this in this video, so I apologize. You need to be aware that those situations are going to rise. You're not going to always come into a licensed realtor doing property management. You're going to come into somebody that works for an investor specifically, that manages that investor's property, or it's the property owner themselves. There's times where the property owner just takes care of their own properties, or it's a short-term gig and they, you know, the property owner wants to save some money or wants to dabble in the business on their own, get some of their own learning curves under their belt. That's okay. So from a tenant's point of view, you just got to keep asking the right questions, know who you're dealing with, don't make any knee-jerk reactions or decisions. And one way to kind of, you know, like the investors are easy, like 99 times out of 100, that property is going to be registered in a business entity name. The other 1% of people that are managing their own property still have it in their personal name because of different reasons. They may, that person, if you bring that up in conversation and start doing your due diligence, they may have a legitimate reason for that. And, you know, if they explain that to you and start building rapport and trust, you may start to realize you're dealing with that. Or go knock on the neighbor's door, right? Like, hey, I just met this guy over here and he says he's the owner, or I met this lady over there. They're portraying themselves as the owner of the property. Have you ever seen them before? Do you know who they are? You know, what's their name? What do they look like? Go door knocking. Like, yeah, I know most people don't want their doors knocked on anymore and they don't want solicitors, but most folks are pretty friendly. And if you're thinking about being a neighbor, they want to know that their neighbor's going to be a good neighbor, right? So be the first one to, you know, be safe. Go introduce yourself. Say, hey, I'm thinking about renting that place. Do you know anything about it? You know, learn a little. So anyway, I meant to get that out there, and so I apologize for bringing it up here right at the end, but I think that's super important because I sell investment properties to professional investors all the time, and they manage their own properties. We're not touching the rental side of them. We buy and sell properties for these investors. We are advisors for these investors. But we don't do the every day, every month inner working part of their business. We're not their property managers. We're just investment advisors. So there's that, and you need to be aware of that too. So anyway, ring the bell, toot the horn, leave a comment. Hope to hear from you. Catch you on the next video. Talk to you later.